Hey guys, it's Daniel from Daniel Gamer. I'm going to show you how to turn an ordinary ball cap into a drip cap like the one in MSP. So to do this project, you're going to need a couple of things. First of all, you're going to need a hat. You can get these pretty much anywhere. I got ours at Walmart. They were on sale. I got it for $2. Next, you're going to need some stir sticks. I like using tongue depressors because they're cheap. You're going to need something to mix it up with. I like using these graduated mixing cups. For your two-part resin, you're going to need a pigment. If you don't have a pigment and you just want to use the raw color, you can always go back in later and paint your hat or paint the resin later using an airbrush or a rattle can. I used So Strong red pigment for this one. Gloves. You definitely want to wear gloves. I buy them in boxes of 1,000 at a time because I use a lot of these. Next, you're going to need your resin. I use MPK resin. This is the 182nd curing version, and it's a 70D. If you can't get resins from MPK, you could always try using resins from Smooth On. Those are available in a lot of places, including Amazon. Just get one that's going to cure like a white color. It'll say on the box or in the description of the product what the natural curing color is. If you get something that cures really dark, like a black, it won't work and everything that you make will come out black. Lastly, you're gonna need something to put the hat on. I use this because I have several of these things lying around. Don't ask. You don't have to use one of these. You could use like a roll of paper towels or an old bucket. Just use your imagination. You just need something to hold the hat up off the table. And remember, this is going to be very messy, so I recommend you put down some paper, plastic, anything that will absorb the spills. Now before I start, I'm going to go ahead and put some masking tape back here so that when I pour resin on this cap, we'll be able to change the size later on. Now to do this project, you're going to want to make sure you wear gloves. And you're going to need a 2-part epoxy resin. I'm using a resin from MPK Enterprises. You don't have to use the same brand. I poured about 2 ounces of Part B into my measuring cup. Now I'm going to add a pigment. Since this is a pink cap, I want this to turn out kind of red or pink, so I'm going to use a red pigment. Don't need much. Now I'm going to stir the pigment into the Part B. I'm just using a little popsicle stick. Stir this until the color is even. Now it's time to add Part A. I've added 2 ounces of Part A. Now we have a total of 4 ounces of resin. Now it's time to mix this up. You want to make sure it's mixed well. When the cup starts to heat up, you know the reaction is taking place. It's an exothermic reaction. It's already starting to take place, so now it's time to add our resin to the cap. Be generous with the resin you pour down. And don't feel like you have to be exact. Just make a mess of it. Think of it as if you were spilling paint on this. That's nice. Now we've got to let this sit and cure. It'll take about 30 minutes. Now the first set, or the first pour is cured. I'm going to do this again, except this time I'm going to add a little bit more red pigment to make the second layer a little bit darker. So I've got my 2 ounces of Part A, 2 ounces of Part B. Now I'm gonna stir. Now just pour it on there. Remember, your cap doesn't have to look like mine. In fact, it won't. Since we're pouring this on, it'll be impossible for 2 caps to be exactly identical. But that's okay. Almost looks like candy. Pour a little on there and let it See how it's kind of dripping and it's getting thicker? That's okay, we want it to do that. We're just waiting a little bit and letting this thicken up before I pour in a little bit more, just to give it some depth. Just drizzle it on there, whatever's left in your mixing cup. There we go. Now we're gonna let this cure again. Ta-da! I got my drip cap. What do you think, guys? Do you like it? It's pretty easy to make, huh? Sure, you need to get some chemicals, and if you're underage, you're definitely going to need your parents' help to do this, but I think all in all, it turned out pretty good. I can still size it back here in the back, and yeah, if I really wanted to bring some of more of this out, I could add yet another layer, maybe a slightly different color, or even airbrush in some dark spots around here in the edges to give it some more depth. So there's a lot of things you could do to do something like this. I'll put links in the description to some of the places that I purchased these materials from. We're not sponsored by any of these companies. We won't make a profit if you buy anything from them. It's just, I'm just gonna post it out there in the description so that you guys know where I got it. If you'd like to get one of these yourself, if you don't feel comfortable making one, I'd be willing to make one for you. You can check out our Etsy shop, and the link is in the description below, and you can order one of these and I'll make it for you. Just know it might turn out just slightly different than this, because like I said, I can't control the way things are poured. Every one is going to be just a little bit different. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions, and share this with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you can be notified when we post new content.